All right, and it looks like we're live. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Let's see. Can I be heard? Can I be heard? Let's see if I can be heard. Cool. It's looking like it. So we're just gonna hit our backup recording because it doesn't look like things are going smooth tonight, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the recording. All right. Hey, Freedom Frugalers, it is time for another exciting episode of Frugal Freedom, where you learn how to become more frugal in your finances and in your time so that eventually you have freedom in both. If you're wondering who I am your virtual mentor, Izzy, and today we're going to be learning a powerful budgeting strategy that I learned from an accountant and actually someone I dubbed as my personal mentor. And he's also a very awesome YouTuber by the name of Tommy Bryson, guys. Okay. So I'm calling this the 6-cat budget, okay? Not dealing with anything feline or not dealing with cats, but this is called the 6-cat budget, and this budget method is going to help you budget more like the rich. Well, at least like Tommy does, okay? And he's well off, all right? But this is part of my live series, so I will be answering questions as we do this. But if you're watching this after, I will be answering your questions right after the chat. But before we get started, though, I do want to say this is probably going to be the last live stream of this series because when I put it into perspective, it would just be more productive to just record these videos for you guys. So we'll still do the rest of this week, but I will have some videos uploaded between tomorrow and Friday, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Before we do, though, make sure you get my free budgeting worksheet, okay? It's a simple step-by-step budgeting guide that walks you through an easy way to budget, and guess what? You're still gonna have fun. Whether you're low on income or looking to pay down debt, or even just figuring out how to justify your nights and weekends out, this guide will certainly help you. And it has been the cornerstone of everything that I have been teaching and will be teaching within these next few videos, okay? So if you want to grab that, the link is in the description below. All right, let's talk about six cat budgeting, excuse me. So 6-cat budgeting is no different from the envelope method. It is no different from the 50-30-20 budgeting, okay? But this method says that when you get your paycheck, you divide your money, okay? And you divide your money into 6 categories, okay? And those categories are savings, investments, debt, expenses, fun, and the last thing is charity, guys. So I'm introducing charity to you guys, okay? Because I always believe that giving, you will be more rich by giving, okay? But they have to be in these orders. So if you need to hear that order again, it's savings, investments, debt, expenses, fun, charity, okay? Those 6 categories in this order. And how does that work? It plays on the pay yourself first method, okay? So savings and investments are you paying yourself first. Debt is getting rid of the things that are taking your wealth. Expenses, you then pay those to live and live well, okay? Then you got to have fun, but you got to pay your expenses before you have fun. And then finally, when you have it to give, even just $5 or $10 per paycheck, even as little as $1 per paycheck, we're now looking into paying charities, okay? Or giving back or providing a service or being a service and giving to charities. Okay, so the idea of this is to pay yourself first. Okay, yesterday we talked about the automatic millionaire. Okay, so if you're taking some of those methods, you want to be doing this automatically. Say it with me: automatic savings. All right. uh Last thing about this is we're looking at budgeting using percentages again, but to me this feels a little bit more easier than the 50-30-20 method. Okay, instead of just three broad categories, we've now put it into six more narrower categories. Okay, and here's how it works: when you get your money, your ideal goal when it comes to percentages, this is how you should be doing it. 10% goes into savings, 10% into investing, 40% goes towards debt. Okay, and you heard me right. 40% of your income should be going towards debt. That's me. I'm radical. I'm trying to get rid of that sucker. You should be getting rid of that. It is an income killer. It is a wealth. It is an enemy to your wealth. Okay, get rid of that debt as soon as possible. Once you get rid of that debt, now you can switch it to investing, okay? Or put a little bit more in your savings once your debt is paid off. But for right now, 40% of your check should be going towards debt. And if you can't do that, of course, I understand there are some expenses, but I do recommend that you put no more than 30% towards your expenses. And I guess you guys can see the conflict that I'm going to have here. All right. The last two, 5% for fun. And lastly, 5% for charity. Okay. So here's what that looks like. If you get paid $100, just a beautiful number. Okay. You get paid $100. $10 goes into savings. $10 goes towards investments. $40 goes towards debt. 30%, excuse me, goes towards your expenses. $5, I know that's not fun, but $5 goes towards having fun. $5 goes towards charity, and it equals $100, guys. Do the math, okay? When you're first starting out, I definitely recommend doing cash, okay? And this is going to build your habit up. And when I started doing this method, I eventually got to a point where I was always writing out my expenses. I was always writing out my budget, based on this method here, okay? Now, why does this work? If you do it right, all of your money is accounted for, right? And you have enough money to invest, okay? You have enough money to pay your bills, okay? Providing that you do that, right? And you get to still have fun, okay, guys? That's all I want you to do. I want you to be able to have freedom with your money. You don't go to work just to pay bills. You go to work to have more options to enjoy life, but you have to have the responsibility of sacrifice. You have to do a little bit of sacrifice, to enjoy the fruits of your labor, okay? And it's always temporary. It is never a long-term goal, okay? I think that's where people get misconstrued when it comes to paying off debt and having to sacrifice fun. It is a temporary thing. It is not an image of your entire life, okay? It's only for this short period of time, all right? Another thing is it gives you a clear view of what categories of life you should be making your money work towards. Okay, so we talked about the zero sum budgeting method. You guys seeing how this is all tying together? Okay, so in the zero sum budgeting method, we're accounting for every dollar. This is a more specific zero sum budgeting method because now we get to actually put a category to where our money is going to be working, okay? Like I said, I like to think of my money as employees. Every dollar that I spend is money working for me, whether it goes out and leaves or whether it goes out and finds more money, okay? All right, so like I said, every single dollar has a job, and we want to make sure that that's for saving more money, making more money, or getting rid of your money killers, okay? The top three things that kill wealth, okay? That's debt, taxes, inflation. The top three income killers, okay? Debt, taxes, and inflation. So we want to get rid of debt while we can, okay? That is the backwards way to wealth, okay? Lastly, why this works is now we're introducing giving to charity. And guys, my philosophy is that no one has ever gone broke by giving back. And also, in saying that, you can't, if you have a closed fist and you don't give, you're not able to receive the many blessings that you are able to receive because you have a closed fist. Okay, so I encourage you to give back and whenever you can, if it benefits you. Okay, I don't want you to go broke giving back to people, because I know Dave Ramsey says the best way to help poor people is to not be poor. Okay, and I hate to give that light, but it's true. Okay. But like with all great things, because this is a great budgeting method, and kudos and shouts out to Tommy Bryson. He's one of my personal mentors. But as with all great things, I find great things to consider. Okay. Here's the thing. Most people don't have the luxury of 30% in expenses. I knew that you were going to say something about that. I just knew it. That's why I said, just hold off. I got you, because that's something you want to consider. All right. Like I said, some people can see their expenses as high as 75% of their monthly income. And in theory and in practice, living over 50% of your income, putting that towards expenses, is why you always feel like you're not getting ahead. Okay. If you make Tommy Bryson has a one thing that stood out to me. He says, if you make $1 million and you spend $1.2 million, you're poor. Okay. All right. So sometimes our expenses are high as 75%, which means we're one paycheck away from destruction. But myself included, we're attached to the things that we buy. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because if we looked at the logic behind the things that we buy, we wouldn't dare get into debt. Okay, debt is just basically saying, I don't have enough money right now, but I want this so bad, I'd be willing to pay you extra for it in the long run. Okay, so we're stubborn in getting rid of things. Okay, but just remember, it's not a sacrifice. Okay, but the second thing is this is not as extreme as 50-30-20 budgeting, nor is it as hard as the envelope method, because let's be honest, that does require a little bit of discipline, but you do still have to have some sort of discipline in this. Okay. All right. Number 3 is you still have to look at it from a percentage perspective. Okay. So a lot of times when I'm doing my budget, I find that I have to, still use my calculator, okay? Because I can't figure out these percentages right away. So if you're not a numbers person, this method probably won't work for you, okay? Another thing is, if you're making it automatic, it requires a lot of elbow grease to set up, okay? Like I said, like we talked about in the automatic millionaire method yesterday, making things automatic does require the upfront work. It is worth it, but it is a lot of upfront work. And the last thing that you have to consider, I'm asking you to put a lot of money towards debt. I know. Trust me. I know. You think I'd be wanting to pay off that much debt? I really don't. But my motives are, and my why for being out of debt is way stronger than the money that I'm attaching to it. Okay. So when I'm stuck trying to figure out, do I want to pay this debt off or do I want to buy this here, I always tell myself, hey, it would be better in the long run for you, and you'd be able to buy 10 of these if you were out of debt, okay? And we're going to have a video later on where we talk about the 2 words that your finances love to hear, okay? But that's in a later video. All right. And I'm radical with paying off debt, but that's why I'm radical. Okay. I want to be able to enjoy life. Okay. I don't want to be stuck paying people for the rest of my life. All right. Now, Here's how I would combat this, okay? And to combat this, we're going to take a little bit of a philosophy from Gary Keller, okay? He has a book called The One Thing, okay? Uh, and I don't have this book physically, but I did have it. I do have it as an audiobook, and it is a book that I refer back to countless times. Okay. It is a very, very wonderful book. And if you guys want me to, I will do a review on Gary Keller. Gary Keller's The One Thing. Okay. But in his book, he has a philosophy. Humans are not built on multitask. The other reason why it seems like you're not getting ahead is because you're putting your money in too many things, okay? So why I'm trying to get rid of debt is because I want to have a laser focus on paying off that debt. So my fund money is temporarily sacrificed. My expenses are temporarily cut down. Okay. My investments even are temporarily cut down until I get this debt paid off. Okay. So we're going to have a laser eye focus for our budget. All right. And that focus, we're going to focus on that one thing until it's done. Okay. So here's some questions. Here's a question that I have for you. What is your goal for budgeting? Okay. What is your goal for budgeting? That's the number one thing you should be asking yourself right now. If you don't have that one thing or that one reason why you're doing it, your one thing is to figure out why you need to budget. Okay. And not, it can be as simple as because I want to get my life in order, because I want to get my finances straight. But for me, that why is I want to be able to go to different countries. I like to travel, although I've been to a couple of different states, but as far as leisure travel, I've only been to one particular state, okay? And that state was Minnesota. But the joy that I got from that travel, I want to be able to replicate that, and I can't do that with these debt killers out here, man. All right, so if your goal, like me, is to get out of debt, then I would go to the bare minimum of every single category, okay? And this is as much as 1%. So when I get my check, 1% goes towards my savings right now. And that's because I am laser focused on getting out of debt. Okay. So when it comes to expenses, we can't go down to 1%. So I would suggest or recommend that you get your expenses down to about 55%, okay? But no more than 70% if you have to, all right? So there are some things that you will have to temporarily cut if your goal is to get out of debt, all right? You're going to have to cut your Netflix. You're going to have to cut your Hulu. I have Amazon Prime. I do have Amazon Prime, but that's because I've adjusted for it, but I didn't have it for a long time, okay? And I buy more books off of Amazon Prime now. I buy more actual physical books because they're a bit cheaper, so I save on delivery. So that's the only reason why I now have an Amazon Prime account, okay? But if you have to, go a little bit less on the internet bill if it doesn't hurt to do that. I know some of us, we need higher speed internet, but if you can, just temporarily, just cut it down. If you have a high cell phone bill, maybe you should be downgrading to a prepaid plan, okay? Maybe you should be going to Mint Mobile, which is what I have. They now offer unlimited, okay? So you could be paying for 1 year what you would pay in 1 month for a high phone bill. And that's not a sponsor or anything. I just really like that company, okay? You can put you do have to cut down on some of your savings, but like I said, all of this is temporary, all right? But the rest of this would go all to your debt minus 4%, okay? So you got 4% between these other categories in your expenses. So this would be 45% of this would be 45% of debt, and this would be somewhere between 52 and 55% of expenses, okay? And by the way, I'm only focused on recurring debt, okay? I'm not focused on like debt as a whole. I will get to a point where I pay those off, but I'm only focused on recurring debt. Okay, this is debt that charges you monthly and charges you more than 7% to use their products. Okay, and I mean 7% interest. Okay, if you have anything that's dealing with debt that charges you more than 7% interest to use their line of credit or their products, get rid of this immediately and as fast as you can. Okay, your car loan, credit cards, student loans, personal loans, any loan that charges you more than 7%, anything. Okay, get rid of that as soon as you can. All right, we're gonna see if we got any questions. Let's see. I was asked what's my mentor's name. His name is Tommy Bryson. Okay, he's a wonderful, wonderful person to also go to if you're looking for some finance. Okay, personal finance. He has a more in-depth view. Okay. Right. Yes, every single dollar has a job, and we do want to start looking towards charity. Okay. Yes, Gary Keller's The One Thing. Okay. That book, just one sentence in that book summed it up for me. I won't tell you that sentence because that's the whole gist of the book. And I really encourage that you read it. It's a very insightful book. Okay. My mom says her goal for budgeting is home ownership. Okay. And that's a very wonderful goal. You're looking at more of investing at that point. Um, Investing in a really nice house, because if you do it right, it'll increase in value. Okay, so that requires a lot of looking at real estate and how that works to its core. Yes, any loan that charges you more than 7%, you should be definitely getting rid of it as fast as you can. Like I said, the number three, the top three income killers are debt, taxes, and inflation. Those are your silent income killers. Well, debt is not too much silent, but you get my gist. All right, that looks like it's about it. Okay, that is about it. In conclusion, although I want you to get out of debt as fast as you can, I still want you to be able to have fun, okay? I still want you to be able to cover your expenses, and I still want you to invest your money to make more money because my goal for you is to get out of the rat race, okay? I want you to be free, my friend. I want you to be free. I cannot stress that enough. And I hope that you would want the same thing from me. All right. Also, we want to start back giving back to people. All right. Giving back to the less fortunate is the most amazing thing that we can do here on this earth. Okay. Uh, uh, and as I say that, I'm actually looking into a specific charity. Okay. But like I said, my focus right now is to go into getting rid of my debt so that I can be able to give as much as I can, as much as I want to. All right. If you don't think that you have enough though, believe that all that it takes is about $5 to $20 per check, and sometimes it's as little as $1 to $2. All right, and like I said, if you keep a closed fist, you also aren't able to accept your new blessings. Okay, just something to think about. I don't without getting too spiritual, but I am a spiritual person, so you know, I tend to use a lot of Bible verses for the things that I say. Okay, but that's all I have for this video, guys. I really hope this helped. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification and comment down below if this is your first time hearing about this method, and if not, do you plan on using it? All right. If you do use it, do you like this method? Have you heard of Tommy Bryson? If not, I suggest you go check him out. Okay. And also, if you have any other topics that you would like me to cover, I'm happy to see those below as well. And before you go, like I said, get a copy of my budgeting strategy worksheet. I'm going to send it directly to your email, okay? I'll see you guys in the next video. I believe the next video you'll learn how I actually put a budget together. My own personal budget, okay? But that's tomorrow, all right? So until then, stay frugal until you're free. Peace.